Hi, everybody. Welcome to Queers and Soaps. I'm Tommy, and tonight I'm joined by Derek.
Hello.
We're back with some more Sunset Beach. We watched episodes 126 to 130, so I'll roll the credits and we'll get right into it. Can we talk about Bet first? Because she was cracking me up. And
Yeah,
she didn't really have a big story, so we could get her done quick.
yeah.
So Eddie had a lead for the guy,
Mhm.
what was he, like a money manager that took
Her
her
business
money?
manager, yeah.
Yeah.
Took her money,
Uh,
yeah.
he said he found him in Mexico,
With the
and
Bravo.
she was like she said something like, "With what? With either a Tijuana Tootsie or a tequila Tootsie." And then he was like, "No," and she was like, "Oh, he's more of a margarita guy." Like, and then he said something about her she might have to get a job, and she's like, "Oh, I have to get married again?" Like, that's the job.
Mhm, yeah.
She was cracking me up.
And she wants Olivia to ask Gregory for a job for her.
Because she said something, she said to Olivia, because 8 marriages just sounds ridiculous, and Olivia was like, "As opposed to 7?"
Oh, and she was so funny with Caitlin and Cole too.
Oh, and I caught the nickname that you said she calls,
Miss
Caitlin. She said, "Hey, beauty,"
Beauty, yeah. And she called
and
Cole Mr. Dimples, but
Mr. Dimples.
usually it's just Dimples, so I guess that's
Yeah.
uh
But, okay, so rewinding to the drama now. Um, we last left off, Olivia was at her abortion appointment, and Caitlin found out about it, and she went to the hospital looking for Mrs. Cole, knowing that that's her mother, to try and stop her. Um, she thinks that it's a random guy that she slept with while she was drunk's baby, and that's why she wants to get rid of it.
Mhm.
Olivia says that it's her father's, and she's like, "Well, then I don't understand why you'd want to get rid of it if it's daddy's."
Mhm.
Um, Gregory's there at the hospital, and the door is just wide open, which I was like, "Why is this door open if there's a patient in there?"
Mhm.
In a gown, no less. Um, but he sees Olivia and he thinks that she's hiding some health issue. Like, I mean, pregnancy is a health issue, but like some serious health issue, like she's dying of something.
Mhm.
And he's like, "Whatever it is, we'll get through this together." And she thinks that he knows about the pregnancy at first,
Yeah.
but then he says something that makes her like that tips her off that he doesn't know. Um, and she lies and says it's an ulcer, and they're just doing like a routine procedure to see how bad it is. Um, Casey's mom wants to live a normal life. She wants to have company over and like enjoy everybody's company. Um, Michael seems against her pushing it,
Mhm.
and he kind of like is like, Casey, like she should be resting, and he's like, she doesn't want to rest. She wants to see the people she loves.
Mhm.
um, but eventually Casey ends up breaking down, and I guess in 1997 he Google didn't come out yet, so he probably asked Jeeves
Yeah, I
like
don't know
about
how they
cancer.
remember how, like, that worked. There was Netscape was one of the ones, like, in the early days, or it could be AOL.
My first home computer that wasn't a laptop was a Compaq, and I remember using Alta Vista search engine.
I remember that one. Mhm.
Yeah.
Yeah, there was definitely a search engine for back then.
I was always typing 90210 because I needed to see every picture that was ever on the internet of 90210. I found a lot of like German and French sites. um, so when Casey tells his mom that he's been doing some research, she's like, "When are we gonna tell me about this?" I'm like, "He literally just looked 5 minutes ago." Like, and he just found everything that he could find on cancer in 5 minutes. Um, she agrees to at least try to meet
Mhm.
some physicians and see what they have to say about her situation. So now they're going to travel the world seeing doctors, exploring their options.
Mhm.
Um, but there was a little party. Um, they decided to have a dance party and they move all the furniture out of the way.
Mhm.
Um, Gabby goes with Mark because she thinks it'll be a good way to like for her to like poke at Ricardo and like taunt him.
Mhm.
Because she's still feeding Mark the fact that like Ricardo's been coming on to her, and that's why she had to move out because she didn't want to feel uncomfortable and do that to Paula. Um, she puts her own spin on the whole towel situation when she was in the shower and she came out and there was no towel when he was working on the AC. She
Mhm.
says that he took the towel and like was like gawking at her naked.
Oh, Gabby.
um, Ben is running on the beach and he sees Meg, who's reading Maria's diary in a very blue outfit. Did you notice how blue that outfit was?
Mhm. Yeah.
And she put the diary away just in time as he like was like coming upon her.
Mhm.
And they tricked me again. For a split
Yeah.
second, I thought it was a real conversation.
Mhm.
When they were kissing, I was like, "Oh, we're just making out on the beach now?" And then it was just like a fantasy in Ben's head.
Yeah.
So now that this is becoming a regular thing, it's starting to get on my nerves.
And it's gonna happen a lot,
And
so
I'm like, "Is James Riley writing? Because this feels like him."
I don't think he's involved yet, but he could be. Will be soon.
Is he a writer though? I feel like I read he was a consultant.
He's a consultant, yeah.
Okay.
But you'll see his influences for sure because a lot of 98 stuff is definitely like him.
Okay.
Yeah.
Um, we're in mid-July now.
I
This week
know.
took us to like July 14th.
Because it didn't air the last week of June because of Wimbledon.
Oh, that's right.
Mhm.
And it started a little bit late. I think it started like January 7th. So there's like half a
Mhm.
week missing there also.
Mhm.
Um, so Tim and Annie are still working together to try and keep Ben and Meg apart. Meg actually read Annie's fake diary entry that she put in.
Yeah.
Okay, so she's reading the diary and she reads up to like a part where it's just like, I don't know what, like, I don't know. She just stopped reading. I'm like, wouldn't you want to keep going? She just like closed it and put it away. Like, I'll read more later. Like, no, read it all.
Read it now. Aren't you curious?
Yeah. Like, is that all you could take?
Mhm. Ben's starting to really scare me. Okay,
And then
why?
she's like, okay, I'm gonna put
Okay.
it away. um,
It's like when you're reading a scary story and, like, you have to put it away because you don't wanna read the rest.
um, Ben almost catches Annie and Tim in her apartment
Mhm.
scheming, but Tim thinks on his toes and he's like, that's right, and you better have that rent money for Mr. Richards. So then I don't know if he offers it then, but later he like is gonna pay Annie's rent. I was like, oh, that's a good friend.
Gregory says he's gonna pay or Ben tells Gregory he's gonna pay Annie's rent, yeah.
Yeah, that part I heard. I wasn't sure if he. I don't remember if he offered Annie to help her out,
Mhm. Yeah.
but Annie and him start to get a little hot and heavy,
Mhm.
and she can't stop talking.
Mhm.
She's like, "Are you doing this because you want to? Because you don't want to think about Maria, or you don't want to think about Meg?" Like, shh. This is why it's not happening because you keep ruining it. Just let it happen.
You just don't shut up.
Yeah. Um, and then I guess as luck would have it for Ben anyway, because he's pushing Meg away, Meg comes to see him, and I forgot that he took her keys away and locked her out of the house, so she has to
Mhm.
ring the doorbell, and then when he doesn't answer, she goes to Annie to see if she knows where he is, and she sees them making out,
Mhm.
and Ben sees her see them, and
And he keeps looking at her while he's making out with her. I was like, "Okay, so this is he wants her to see her with
Yeah,
Annie see him with Annie." Yeah.
but, like, that wasn't planned, I don't think. Or was it?
I
Like, did
feel
he
like it
lock all the
was.
doors
Like,
thinking she would come there because he saw her on the beach?
yeah, maybe. I feel like he wanted Meg to see him with Annie to protect her, so she would back off.
Yeah, that's definitely the reason, but I don't know if, like, this scenario itself was planned.
Yeah, I don't know.
Unless, like I said, like, because he knows that she can't stay away from him, and he saw her on the beach, he's like, "So she's about to show up any minute."
Right. She's like, "Oh, she'll be
Yeah,
here."
and Annie's, like, unaware that Meg saw them, so she's like, "What just happened?" Because
Mhm,
now once Meg saw and left, he stopped, and she's like, "What just happened?" Like, but then she puts 2 and 2 together, she was like, "Meg saw us, didn't she?" And
mhm.
then do they kiss some more, or is it over?
I think it's
Because
over.
she's talking too much.
Yeah, I think he's just over it at that point.
Yeah. Um, Casey's mom, Alex, asks, Gregory to come by. She wants to revise her will. So he finds out that she's sick,
Mhm,
which really shakes him. And it's I was thinking about this today. Gregory is an asshole,
mhm,
terrible person. Until somebody he cares about, he feels like he's gonna lose them,
mhm,
then he kinda has, like, a soft side. It's like, "I'm gonna make your life miserable until I feel like I might lose you, and then I love you."
mhm,
Because this makes him, like, double down on, like, being there for Olivia, whatever she's going through health-wise, and working on their relationship, and I'm just like I was really surprised at how rattled he was by the Alex news,
mhm.
which also makes me question how close all of these people were when they were younger.
Yeah, and he gave her a pretty intense kiss.
Yeah, that I was like, "Oh, okay. Did they date?"
Mhm.
Oh, yes, and I also did have the thought because of that, I was like, "Oh my god, is he Casey's father?"
Yeah, I thought about that too.
Because we know that Casey doesn't like his father,
Mhm.
or the man that he thinks is his father if Gregory ends up being his father. I don't know. um, that would actually be a cool twist
Mhm.
if. And then I started thinking, I was like, did he ever flirt with Caitlyn? Because that would be gross.
So,
We didn't see Sean or Tiffany, I don't think.
mm-mm.
Is that just are they just like relegated to like extras now until like
I don't know.
more teens show up?
Yeah, because we don't really see Tiffany. I think the reason why they got Adrian France left is because they offered her recurring and she didn't want recurring and she left. And that's why this girl
Oh,
is only on every so often.
oh, okay.
That's just like my guess, but
Hmm.
I don't know why Randy Spelling doesn't have more scenes. He's, the producer's son.
Right. um,
But he's definitely more involved, like, in, like, later in the show, so
yeah. Um, so half the week, like literally 3 episodes, where was Caitlyn trying to convince Olivia not to go through with the abortion.
mhm.
Um,
That was a long doctor's visit. That was, like, 3 or 4 episodes.
it was.
Yeah.
Um, um, Bet almost blew the
Mhm.
secret with Cole
Yeah.
because she was like, "Oh, you know?" And he was like, "Yeah." She's like, "About her procedure," and he's like, "Yeah, she already had it." And she was like, "Oh." And then he was like, "Yeah." He's like, "Ulcer's not really anything to like
Get upset
worry
about.
about." And she was like, "Right, your her ulcer." And then Olivia walks in. She's like, "We were just talking about your ulcer."
Oh my god. Classic.
um, Olivia's fantasies were weird
Mhm.
because the last fantasy she had is that she had the baby, and I guess the secret never came out, and the baby kept going to Cole and calling him daddy, and
Mhm.
I'm like, why would the baby instinctively be like, "Oh, no, this is the person that donated his sperm to make me."
Right, yeah, that wouldn't
And Gregory's like, "Why is he calling him daddy?"
happen.
Matter of fact, he kinda looks like him.
Yeah.
Um, oh, so the Deschanel jewels. I thought we were done with this. But Annie's broke. She still
Mhm,
wants these jewels. They're at the police station.
mhm,
And I was thinking about them. I'm like, okay, so they're the Deschanel jewels. There's a Deschanel in town. They should rightfully be his. But then I thought about it more, and I don't exactly remember the details, but this is how I rationalized it in my head. His grandmother paid Del Douglas with these jewels in order to kidnap Cole. Is that
mhm.
how Del got his hands on these jewels?
Yes,
And then he willed them to Olivia.
yes.
So even though they are technically the Deschanel jewels, they legally belong to Olivia.
Mhm,
Okay, so I got all the details right in my head.
yeah, mhm.
All right. Um,
But I don't remember what happened to the jewels. Like, I feel like Cole would try to want them back. Like, he doesn't want would want Olivia to have them.
no, the one time that they slept together was because he broke into her bedroom in the middle
Mhm.
of the night and was trying to like steal them from her.
Right. Mhm.
um, I don't know what game he's playing with Caitlin. I don't know if it's supposed to be like a fun fake adventure, but he like
Yeah,
left her a note.
yeah, that's weird. And I saw the cassette tape and I laughed. But then he's
um,
don't
the fantasy where Ben and Meg were making out on the beach, there was a song playing, and
it was terrible.
it was a terrible song, but it was definitely made for the show because it's a
Something about in Sunset Beach,
in Sunset Beach, right?
and I'm like, "Why don't they play their theme Beyond the Sunset? Why are they playing this stupid song?"
And then I was like, I hope they weren't like thinking this could be the new theme song because it's terrible.
Yeah, it was really bad. And one thing I noticed is that when they're filming on the beach, they talk really loud, like, because
They're probably trying to talk over the wind.
exactly, yeah, they're like, they're really loud. Like Meg's like screaming and talking really loud with Tim, and I'm like, oh, okay.
I'm surprised that whatever mic they're wearing isn't like catching the wind. And
Yeah.
I mean, you
Mhm,
could definitely hear it, but they're definitely shouting over it.
mhm. Yeah, I mean, I'm sure you have to because it's so windy there.
hmm Um. Oh, so Annie and Bet go to lunch, but neither of them have money.
Yeah, that's like, don't worry, I'll put it on my tab.
Yeah. And then Annie tries to leave, and they're like, "Oh, you have to pay." And she's like, "Oh, it's on my Aunt Beth's tab." And they're like, "That's closed." So she's
Mhm,
like, so what do I do?" So she like made some phone calls, couldn't get money. And they're
mhm.
like, "So what happens?" And they're like making her
Make her
basically be a hostess. I feel like I know something just from pictures and maybe like odds and ends I've read over the years that Annie and Gregory end up getting married at some point.
They do.
That should be interesting. That means Olivia and him have to get divorced.
Yes, that
Huh.
definitely happens, and
I feel like the things that I've heard about this show, like I'm like, it was only on for 3 years.
a lot happens in those 3 years.
And I feel like we're not moving fast enough for all those things to happen. We're halfway through the
And
first
the
year.
show okay, so the show really gets moving in the fall of '97. It's like must-see TV in, like, the
Is it?
fall. Oh, yeah, you're gonna be hooked. It's so good, and I got hooked.
um, we saw a little bit of Vanessa, but she didn't really like have her own story. She was just kind of like at the
Mm,
party. Um, we didn't see Virginia or James.
mm-mm.
I guess she's still recuperating from
I
her broken
think
ankle
so, yeah.
or leg, whatever she
I
broke.
can't wait till she's scheming and, like, going after Vanessa and Michael. I'm ready. I'm glad they decided to make her a villainess because she's not really interesting, nice.
I know. Right now, anytime anybody brings up the possibility that she might like Michael, she's like, "No, I wouldn't do that. Like, he loves Vanessa." But you can tell she does like him.
Yeah.
um, what else happened? I think that was it. It was a lot of like talking Olivia out of having the abortion, and then she finally decided not to. Oh, so Gregory doesn't know she's pregnant, and he decided that he wants to book like a second honeymoon for him
Mhm.
and Olivia. And literally the next scene, she's on the phone with the doctor, and he's like, "We have to talk about like you taking prenatal vitamins and taking care of your health." He's like, "And no flying." She's like, "Oh, we don't have any vacations planned." And
Right, for like,
okay,
yeah.
because she called because she wanted to know if there was a way to find out who the father of the baby is before the baby's born.
Right, mhm. Yeah, and I feel like that's gonna be difficult to figure out.
Yeah.
But I don't know if that's a thing, though. Can you find out who the baby is father is before it's born?
I don't know.
Yeah.
Mm, Um, well, they're able to do tests to find out if the baby has Down syndrome or other
Mhm.
diseases, so maybe.
Yeah, possible.
Um, I would think that'd be kind of risky though, if you're constantly like poking a
Mhm.
needle into the uterus to do these tests.
Yeah.
um, yeah, I can't imagine. I don't even care about how Gregory's gonna react because I know he's gonna be an asshole when he finds out.
Mhm.
I just can't imagine how Caitlyn gets past this when she finds out.
She's not gonna find out for a long time, so
Yeah, you said it's the recast that finds out, right?
mhm. Yeah,
That's a shame.
yeah. I would've loved the way Vanessa Dorman would have reacted instead of the other one, but I like the other one. So
Oh, so Meg quits working at the Deep and Java Web
yeah.
thanks to the advice of Gabby and others, that she needs to distance herself.
And I like when Tim was like, "Yeah, you're not yourself anymore. You don't do anything for you." And then Meg's kind of like, "You're right." Like, and then she's like jogging on the beach, part of which is normally part of her routine. She's starting to get back to like the things that she does, and then what happens? She runs into Ben.
So when she turned and saw Ben running,
Yeah,
I thought she was gonna be like, "Oh my god, we have so much in common. We both suck."
right.
Is
Well,
that
I'm very
destiny?
Teresa Lopez with Cheryl thing to say.
Um, she actually recited the Sunset Beach rhyme or
The
legend.
legend, yeah.
Yeah, to
Well,
Ben.
she goes up to Ben and she's like, "Yeah, I guess we're not meant to be, even though the legend said this."
Yeah. She was like, it said that the person you see at the far side of the pier is who you're destined to be with. And
Mhm,
she's like, "And you were the one I saw. I guess that's a lie."
right.
Uh,
Mhm,
and then I think she's even like mad at him for like even just using Annie. She's like, "Why are you doing that to Annie?"
right. And one thing that Annie said that I really like never thought about before was Annie would realize Meg was never the problem. Maria's always been the problem.
hmm
Yeah.
Oh, so back at the restaurant while Annie's being a hostess,
Mhm,
Gregory's there to meet with Ben about
mhm.
going into business together on some property.
Yeah.
Um, is this the first we're hearing of it? Because I'm like, what business are we doing?
Mhm. I think
um,
it's Gregory's business.
okay.
Yeah.
Um, so before Ben arrives, Annie takes this opportunity to kind of question Gregory about Ben and his relationship with Maria towards the end. And
Mhm.
Gregory's not letting anything out. He's just like, "It's none of your business. Mind your
Right.
business." um, and then Ben shows up and she gets out of there. Oh, Ben. Oh,
Mhm.
she asks Gregory to pay the lunch bill, and he says he will. And then Ben says he's gonna pay her rent. I'm just like, this girl doesn't have to worry about anything. All these men are paying for everything.
And honestly, Sarah Buxton has chemistry with every male on that show. I would say all of them.
I love her.
She's
She's
great.
she's fun to watch on screen.
Oh yeah.
She was
And
on
today,
Days for a very brief stint in like 2004, and I don't
mhm.
really remember it, but I do remember that I liked it.
Well, in her storyline with like Gregory and Richard, it's like she's so much fun to watch. Oh my god,
I think
amazing.
she was a regular on Bold and the Beautiful after this.
Yeah, but they fired her because her character was so like irredeemable.
Oh, really?
Because I watched it when she was on for
Did you?
her. Yeah, and they just made her so evil they didn't know what to do with her, so they had to get rid of her.
Damn.
Yeah.
um, she was also on an episode of the new Melrose Place, I believe.
Really? I don't remember that.
Yeah, it was like a one scene kind of thing.
Okay.
But I was
Well,
like, oh, it's
she was in Don't Tell Mom the Babysitter's Dead. She was one of Christina Applegate's friends.
oh really?
Mhm. Yeah. I don't
That's
care what's
cool.
about that movie, but yeah.
And she was actually on Bold in the 80s as like one of the Logan sisters' friends. I was like, oh my god, that's her. I was like, but she's playing a different character.
Oh, okay. I didn't know that.
Yeah. Um, yeah, I like her. I wish
Mhm.
she was still doing soaps, or if she had continued to do soaps.
She does movies still, I think. She doesn't.
She probably would have been great on General Hospital.
She was supposed to play Carly. Well,
I read that on Wikipedia.
she was up for the role when Laura Wright was up for the role.
Uh-huh.
Yeah, and Laura got
Is
it.
there anything else you want to add on this week that I missed?
um, just that Alex and Casey went off to Oslo to get her because there's like a specialist there that can help Alex with her cancer treatment.
Yeah, who apparently she's met with once before. He
Right.
may even be the one that diagnosed her.
Yeah. And I think Casey and Alex are off the show for a little bit. Like they
Oh,
come
really?
back, but I think they're off the show for a good month or so.
Oh,
Yeah, because they're off in
okay.
Oslo.
Hmm.
Mhm. But she comes back. She's on for a good while in the fall, and she's in Terror Island. So, well, she's not on Terror Island. She's on the show on Terror Island.
Oh, really?
Yeah.
So maybe they're successful in finding something to prolong.
Yeah, I don't remember what happened with that. If she, got
Uh,
cured or if she,
hmm.
I don't remember.
I don't know why. I just assume she dies.
I don't think she dies. I
No?
don't
Oh,
remember her dying, so I'm guessing she did get cured.
oh, that's good. I'm
Yeah.
hap- oh, I'll be happy when we get there then. Good for her.
Yeah.
All right.
Well,
Well,
you know the big twist with Olivia's pregnancy, right? You don't know that?
there's a twist.
Not that who the father is, but there's something else. But
No.
okay, and I will not spoil it. That's huge. Like that's so much fun.
What? What could happen? What?
Okay, well, can I tell you this? Can
What?
I? Okay, you like spoilers. It's
Yeah.
fine. Olivia's not the only one that's pregnant right now.
Oh, I think I know this. Caitlin is, right?
Yes.
Yes. Oh, wow. Yeah, that just hit me
Mhm.
like a ton of bricks. I do know that.
Okay, then you knew. Okay.
Both babies make it though, right? Because I feel like now I'm having them. They don't. Oh,
No.
oh, that stinks.
Yeah. Yeah. That's
Why did
where
I know this? Hmm.
that's where 80 comes in.
Wait, Annie comes in?
Yeah.
Really? Hmm.
We can edit this out. It's fine.
For anybody else that doesn't want to be spoiled.
Yeah.
All right. Well, thank you for joining us for another week's worth of Sunset Beach. As always, you can find us on all the socials and on Patreon at Queers and Soaps. And until next time, have a great night.
Good night.
Bye.